The markets of Clytha Prime always smelled of spice, oil, and despair. Stretching for miles beneath a dome of shifting neon skies, the bazaar was a place where anything, tools, weapons, even people, could be bought for the right price. Travelers came here from every corner of the spiral arms, pockets heavy with credits, hearts light with morality. But for Jace Renner, the market wasn't a playground. It was a graveyard of choices. He was a smuggler down on his luck, a man who'd lost his crew, his ship half falling apart, his debts catching up faster than he could outrun them. On that day, he had only a handful of credits left, barely enough for fuel to limp his rust-bucket starship out of the system. He told himself he came to the market to find parts, but his feet carried him elsewhere, toward the cages. The cages. Jace had seen the exotic stock pens before, rows of wire and glass enclosures, filled with creatures that should never have been treated as property. Reptilian miners, amphibious couriers. Even once, a captured sentient AI core blinking helplessly. But this time, he froze. In one of the cages sat two beings with feline features, sleek ears, luminous slit-pupiled eyes, and tails coiled tight around their legs. Their bodies were lean, humanoid, clothed in little more than rags. They weren't beasts, not by a long shot. They were people. A sign above the cage read, Lyrian stock, tender meat, fresh sale. Jace's stomach turned. A crowd had gathered. Merchants shouted prices. Cooks licked their lips. Bidders waved cred sticks in the air. The Lyrians crouched low, ears pinned, eyes wide with terror. Come on, folks, barked the auctioneer, a broad-shouldered reptilian with too many teeth. Fresh catch off the Freighter Argenta. Lyrian catgirls, perfect size, perfect meat. We start the bidding at. Jace didn't hear the number. He only heard the younger of the two whisper to her sister, clutching her hand, I don't want to be eaten. The words were soft, desperate, and they shattered him. The choice. Jace had no stake in this. He was nobody's hero. He was a man drowning in debt, one step away from selling himself into indenture. But he couldn't walk away. His hand shot up. I'll take them. The crowd jeered. A human competing against rich merchants? Laughable. The auctioneer sneered. Do you have credits, Skaver? Jace tossed his cred stick onto the stage. The screen blinked with his balance. Meager, pathetic, his entire savings. Enough to win. The merchants grumbled, but none bothered to outbid. The auctioneer shrugged and shoved the cred stick into his pocket. They're yours. Take him and get out before I change my mind. The cage opened. The Lyrians stumbled forward, trembling. Their tails lashed nervously, their eyes darting at the hungry crowd. Jace moved quickly, throwing his coat around their shoulders, shielding them from the stays. Come on, he muttered, guiding them away. You're safe now. But deep down, he knew that wasn't true. Strangers on his ship, back aboard his battered freighter, the Nomad's Grace, Jace finally caught his breath. The Lyrian sat huddled on the floor, still wrapped in his coat. Up close, they were even more striking. Their furred ears twitched at every sound, their tails coiled like whips. The older one had sharp, suspicious eyes, always watching him. The younger's gaze was softer, frightened but curious. He brought water. Food, real food, not rations. They devoured it like they hadn't eaten in days. When they finished, he sat cross-legged across from them. My name's Jace. I'm not gonna hurt you. What's yours? The older one narrowed her eyes. Why did you buy us? Jace hesitated. Because no one deserves to be sold for meat. Silence. The younger one finally whispered, I'm Kayla. She's my sister, Syrah. Syrah's tail lashed. We didn't need saving. We needed freedom. And you, she jabbed a clawed finger at him. Now own us. Jay shook his head quickly. No, you're not property. Not mine, not anyone's. The words seemed to surprise her. Kayla's ears perked slightly, hope flickering in her eyes. Sarah didn't believe him. Not yet. Flight. Word spread fast in the market. By the next day, Jace learned the hard way that his purchase had angered the wrong people. The merchants hadn't liked being cheated out of fresh meat. The syndicate that controlled the pens liked it even less. When thugs came to his ship demanding the Lyrians back, or his life, Jace didn't hesitate. He gunned the engines, blasting the Nomad Grace off Clyde Prime in a trail of fire. But escape had its price. His ship was low on fuel. His debts now tied to syndicate hunters, and 2 alien cat girls stared at him from a passenger bay, their lives tangled with his. Kayla clung to his arm. "You saved us," she whispered. Sarah crossed her arms. "You doomed us. The syndicate won't stop. You should have left us." Jace gritted his teeth. "Not my style." Growing bonds. Days turned into weeks as they drifted from system to system, dodging bounty hunters and scavenging for supplies. At first, Sarah kept her distance, suspicious of every move Jace made. But Kayla warmed quickly, asking questions, laughing when he showed her old Earth music, her tail flicking in delight at his clumsy dancing. Slowly, even Sarah began to soften. She sparred with him in the cargo bay, her reflexes sharp, her movements feline grace. He taught her how to use a blaster. She taught him how Lyrians listened, not with ears, but with every fiber of their being. They were no longer captives. They were crew, and maybe family. The betrayal, but peace never lasted. One night, while Jay slept, a beacon activated. He woke to find Sarah in the cockpit. Fingers on the console, a transmitter blinking red. "You called them," he said, his voice low. Sarah's ears flattened. "We can't run forever. If we go back, maybe Kayla lives. Maybe I live. But with you, we'll die." Jay stepped forward, hurt sharper than any blade. "So you'd hand me over? After everything?" Kayla burst in, eyes wide, torn between them. "Sarah, no. He saved us." Sarah's voice broke. "He doomed us." Before Jace could stop her, the transmitter pinged. Coordinates sent. The syndicate knew where they were. The last stand. The hunters arrived fast. A frigate blocked their path, guns blazing. Jace swerved the freighter, alarm screaming. "We can't outrun them." Kayla cried. Sarah's eyes burned with guilt. She grabbed a blaster, shoving it into Jace's hands. "Then we fight." Together, they did. Jace piloted like a madman, weaving through asteroid fields. Sarah manned the guns, her shots precise, deadly. Kayla rerouted power through failing systems, her quick fingers saving them more than once. The battle was chaos. Fire tore through the hull. Engines sputtered. But somehow, together, they crippled the frigate and slipped into the void. When the silence fell, they were alive. Barely. Jay slumped in the chair, blood on his forehead. "Remind me never to buy anyone again." Kayla laughed through tears, clinging to him. Sarah's gaze softened at last. She touched his shoulder. "I was wrong. You didn't doom us. You gave us a chance." A new beginning. They limped to the edge of the galaxy, where syndicate claws reached less often. Repairs would take months. Debts would never vanish. But on the battered deck of the Nomad's Grace, 3 souls sat together. Smuggler, outcast, survivors. Where to now? Kayla asked, her tail curling around his arm. Jace looked at them. 2 lives he'd saved with his last credits. 2 lives that had saved him in return.